If you have a debt, if Omari owes you a debt, if anybody owes you a debt and he dies, can you go to court in succession and demand that you get paid for that money? Can you go to succession and stop the distribution of the estate because the father of these children owed you a debt? What we are telling you, if somebody owes you and he has died, don't waste going to the succession court to say he died and he owed me. The succession court only deals with blood relatives, the beneficiaries. Anything else, Wakili Dan Stomari has now told you. Go to the funeral, raise the issue at the funeral, and your issues will be dealt with. You cannot be listened to when you go to a succession court. Welcome to Court Explainer. Drama in succession matters is not ending. Were you born? Do you know the Bull of Auckland? Do you know the total man? That can't be for the Gen Zs. The Gen Zs don't know who the total man is. Those who are present during the time of the late President Daniel Arap Moi know the total man. The total man was none other than Nicholas Arap Biwott. In official terms, he's called Nicholas Kiprono Biwott. This is a dispute about a succession court number 1506 of 2017. That is in the matter of the estate of Nicholas Kiprono Biwott, deceased, versus Barnabas Arap Kibrono, Rosemary Kamene Nzeki, Desterio Andandi Oyasi, and Kenneth Hamisi Hula Keth, Elizabeth Clem. What is it? The deceased in this succession cause died on 11th of July 2017, leaving a written will dated the 19th of January 2017, in which he appointed 3 executors as follows: Wakili Senior, Desterio Adandi Oyatsi, Elizabeth Clem, and Kenneth Hamisi Hula. So there is a will. What happened? In paragraph 11, the issues for determination in the 2 protests are as follows: whether the estate of the deceased is indebted to 2 protesters. Paragraph 12 says, on the issue as to whether the estate of the deceased is indebted to the 2 protesters, I find that the 2 protesters are not dependents or the beneficiaries of the deceased. The first protester has a suit pending in Eldoret High Court, being Eldoret Civil Suit number 7 of 2019, which has not yet been determined. The second protester, Rosemary Kamene Nzeki, has not filed any suit, and she stated in her own affidavit that there was no contract of employment between her and the deceased. Paragraph 15, the judge says, it is not the duty of the family court to ascertain unproved claims against the estate of the deceased. I agree with the holding of Mabeya J in the decision in the estate of Zakaria and Viga Mutumu that the probate court's sphere of inquiry is limited to ascertaining what assets are available to the estate, who are the beneficiaries, are to be more and the mode of distribution of the estate. Paragraph 22, the judge says the estate of the deceased is worth 2 million of shillings, and it cannot be said that the protesters will suffer irreparable damage should the stay not be granted. There is still a continuing trust that will handle all issues arising, and therefore it is not in the interest of justice to stay the succession process because of the 2 claimants. So the questions we are raising is found in that the two protesters file a petition for grant of probate in the succession cause, and it was on this basis that the court rejected them. What are we talking about? If you have a debt, if Omari owes you a debt, if anybody owes you a debt and he dies, can you go to court in succession and demand that you get paid for that money? Can you go to succession and stop the distribution of the estate because the father of these children owed you a debt? Where I come from, and most African communities, whenever anybody dies, during the burial, uncles ask, kuna mtu marehemu ana deni yake, kuja mbele, tangaza deni yako. The family will sort that debt. What we are telling you, if somebody owes you and he has died, don't waste going to the succession court to say he died and he owed me. The court of succession will tell you, go to the civil court. These two people went to stop this distribution of the estate of Nicholas Biwott. The court told them, not here. Just go to the civil court. So the lessons learned is that whenever anybody has a debt of the deceased person, you cannot be party to file a matter in a succession matter. The succession court only deals with blood relatives, the beneficiaries, and its mandate is to look for what is the property available. How do you distribute that property? And how do you pay the taxes? Anything else? Wakili Dan Stomari has now told you. Go to the funeral, raise the issue at the funeral, and your issues will be dealt with. You cannot be listened to when you go to a succession court. Wakili Dan Stomari bringing it as it is.